Welcome to Ish I Saw on TikTok. In this series, we look at TikToks and some stitched responses where something very prevalent in dating today is discussed. Then finally, I'll provide my commentary at the end of just me being myself, unfiltered and unadulterated. Hi, I'm Janelle, the relationship coach behind The Successful Invisible. I work with successful, savvy, wonderful, professional black women, single professional black women who are 35 plus and are seeking just better dating options and have no clue where to start. Check out my links below if you're interested in working with me one-on-one or in a group coach setting. The goal of exploring some of these TikToks is to spark discussion and help you to develop more awareness, including self-awareness, in some of the patterns you've either engaged in or allow in your own dating life. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
So we got a comment from D. Gill. Because I've seen men like you pay all the bills and expenses, and when you're no longer able to afford that, she's leaving you. I've seen it at work many times. So let me respond by saying this. My wife's not leaving me. I rebuke that. And then second of all, I want this to be a teachable moment because this is proof that a lot of men, unfortunately, are too invested in other men's trauma without knowing context. There's a cause and effect on everything. See, the men at your job that you've seen probably crying in the break room, you don't know what they put their wives through. That's the side of the story that you don't know. How do you know that they weren't serial cheaters, gaslighters, narcissists, abusers? It's a lot to the story that you don't know. But see, a lot of men, you sit around listening to these podcasts, buying all this trauma in bulk, and you don't know what they've done to the women that they've dated in the past. You only hear one side of the story. And a lot of you are accepting and buying into that victim mode, that victim mentality, and you're projecting and you're deflecting all of your flaws that you are refusing to grow out of on women. You see how I just had to cook? So it is what it is. So instead of just feeling sorry for those men, understand that it's a lot that you may not be aware of.
Let's jump into my favorite part of all of the content I post on YouTube, and that's just my thoughts, where I get to kind of express what I feel about whatever we have read or gone over. So let's get into it. I really like this creator on TikTok, and he said a whole word when he said, oftentimes men are too invested in other men's trauma and they don't know the full story. And I think he gave a great example of that. Of there could be a guy on his job who is complaining about, his wife, or his wife is leaving him, and then his coworkers are feeling bad for him, the men who see him every day. But what he is not disclosing to this men, the men that he works with, and it's intentional, and it's to make himself look like a victim. It is that the part he played in his wife deciding to divorce him. If he's been abusive, verbal, physical, financial, etc. He's not telling these men that. If he has been unfaithful, he is not telling these men that. The wrongs he's done to his wife, the things that may have contributed to the reason she's leaving. Because more often than not, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's not very probable that a woman who is in a healthy, satisfying relationship is just going to, a marriage is just going to say, oh, I'm leaving, or relationship or marriage, oh, I'm leaving, I don't want to do this anymore. It is possible. We're human. People change. Things can happen. But it's highly improbable. I don't even want to say highly improbable. It's not very probable, because when someone is happy and you are doing your part to make them happy, and you also are very clear they want to be with you. Now, if you're starting from a foundation of you are doing all of these things to keep somebody who never wanted you, it's more likely to happen. But if you're starting from a foundation of two people who genuinely want to be together, want to grow together, and you are doing your part in good faith and actually working, not manipulating, not gaslighting, not abusing, it's not very probable they want to leave. So I think he made a very salient point that far too many grown men are listening to what their friends say, are listening to podcasts, are listening to sources recite all of this terrible rhetoric about their experiences, and men are very invested in other men's trauma without asking critical questions about why. And that, bros before hoes and bro code, they're going to believe anything a man says. Another thing that needs to be brought to the forefront here, I think, in this discussion, and it's more prevalent, I would say, when I do work with male clients, and this is eventually unearthed, is men don't oftentimes believe women. And it's very scary and it's very sad. So they want to dismiss concerns that women have about a relationship, even if they know the other side. They want to make excuses for other men. This goes to a bigger point of men don't like to hold other men accountable, and this includes themselves. This is one of multiple reasons. This is a contributing factor in why we have such challenges in romantic relationships and partnerships today, especially heterosexual ones. So I love what he said. I need more men to hear that, understand it, absorb it, and really take a step back. And the way they would question a woman about leaving, they need to start questioning their homeboys. They need to start questioning their friends. Why is she leaving you? Because more likely, more often than not, there is material information that he is intentionally withholding from the men that he's telling his story to, his sob story to, because he knows it would change their opinion. And that's what I say. When people are retelling a story, definitely think about like a company and investors. Material information is any information that if a informed investor, if a person knows what they're doing in terms of investing, if they had, it could change the way they view investing in a company. And withholding such information is illegal. I apply that same theory and that same thing to relationships. If you know, when you're telling your side of the story, if you are withholding material information, meaning are you, this in this example of this gentleman who's with the sob story to his coworkers about his wife leaving, are you telling your coworkers that you want all this sympathy from and all this pity from what your part was in the relationship and the things that more than likely your wife or soon to be ex-wife told you of why she's leaving? And more often than not, the answer is no. So what I want everyone to take from this clip is to ask questions. I'm not saying question somebody and be mean, but use critical thinking skills. If this guy is saying he's so great and his wife, he's blindsided by the divorce, take a step back and think about it. Ask him more about it. And, really assess if I asked the wife that's leaving this same question, would she give me the same answer? She has no clue why she's leaving, or is she going to give me very succinct, specific answers of what she may have asked her husband to do or stop doing in order for this marriage to work? So I just want men to stop taking what other men say at face value. They surely have no problem questioning women. They need to start doing this with the men in their lives too, especially when they hear things about relationships ending, because likely there's more to it than the men are initially telling, and it's intentional. They're withholding material information because they want the sympathy. Okay? So just my thoughts on this one, but I really love this TikTok. Thank you for joining me today for this episode of Ish I Saw on TikTok. Men are too invested in other men's relationship trauma. Watch this video again and take some notes. Reflect on your current and former romantic situations with men and take your time with this one and identify if you've seen any of these traits in your current or former partners. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, check out the links below. Also, check out my podcast, The Successful Invisible, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Until next time, this is your relationship coach, Janelle, signing off.